Welcome to Chalk and Code,
where the science of learning meets modern technology.
We're bringing together entrepreneurs, product leaders, researchers, and advocates
to spark ideas, challenge assumptions, and shape the future of learning.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Chalk and Code. Today I'm thrilled to be joined by Cheryl Bayer, a powerhouse in media and immersive learning. Cheryl is the CEO and founder of Living Popups, an augmented reality company reimagining education through interactive storytelling. But Cheryl's story doesn't start with AR. It starts with a rich career in television and film. She's helped shape iconic shows like The Simpsons, Family Guy, Malcolm in the Middle, Roseanne, My So-Called Life, Home Improvement, That 70s Show, and Sex and the City. Her roles, from casting to producer roles at ABC, Fox, Nickelodeon, and Creative Artists Agency, gave her a front row seat to how stories can move people. And now she's applying that same magic to creating authentic, immersive learning experiences. Through Living Popups, Cheryl is merging pedagogy with play. She's helping school districts and other clients, including the band Coldplay, to create vibrant, interactive learning experiences. From animated characters who guide learning to AR-powered books that leap off the page, Cheryl is proving that tech can spark curiosity, not just screen time. Cheryl, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
I'm so excited that you're here today. I am very excited about your background, and Living Popups is such a cool product. You've had such a dynamic career in media. What moments from that era shaped your approach to storytelling?
I would say, starting with the fact that I grew up in New York City, and everybody was a New Yorker. And even if you came from a different country, you were walking on the same streets, whether you were the richest person or the poorest person. We were all one. And I do feel that there was something, and we were all jamming into the same subway car. And so to me, I was like, is that me or is that you? It was a unifier that just said we were all human. We all had similar approaches, yet there were unique paths or unique styles. And so I was always fascinated by that. And then that being said, I also just loved observing people, the curiosity of such, and wanting to know more and being humbled to know the best ways to make decisions were based on gathering more information. So that being said, when I first saw somebody like a Roseanne, who was doing stand-up, and was talking about being a mother and seeing a Dorito under the couch, and giving it the 20-second rule to can I eat it or not? I thought, we haven't seen that who doesn't feel that way? Who doesn't have that internal narrative? But we haven't seen that mother on TV yet. So I did that with with Cosby's and A Different World. It was the first modern, sophisticated family that happened to be Black. It was the first HBCU that they happened to be Black college students, but people were coming of age at that time. I love different phases of coming of age because I still feel like we're all coming of age, right?
Great, I love that.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So what led you to shift from your career in entertainment into education, and how did the idea for Living Popups take shape?
So again, going back to when I was growing up, the first thing I was told was that I had dyslexia. And I didn't see inverted numbers or letters. I just remember, and thank God today, SATs are optional for kids, okay? But there was a time where when a train was coming from Kentucky with apples and another train was coming from Ohio with oranges, when did they meet? On a Tuesday when the moon was full? I wrote, instead of coloring in with my number 2 pencil, I wrote, "What do you want from me?" And the woman who was trying to get it through the big antiquated 1980s, computer system called my house, and my father answered. And I think it was one of my many angels in life. She said, "Your daughter has a sense of humor and she will survive. And she doesn't know math word problems." And she used the word "yet." And so since 10th grade, I've been using the word yet, and I have a mantra that I go by. So I was 15 when this all happened. And the yet is that we can continue learning instead of no, or she didn't get it, right? It was looked at as an opportunity, and my father was so impacted by that too, so that your parents then can be supportive instead of it's a problem, right? And and so it was an aha moment for me at 15. The other aha moment was that I realized people, all we want to do is be seen and heard. And most people don't know that if you say what you mean what you say, and you don't say it mean, which is the key part to that, you will be heard. The power of positive words to keep a conversation going. So here I was very successful at making groups at different times in their lives in programming feel seen and heard. Though a mother like Roseanne, or when I did Sex in the City, it was for 2 years. It was a book that I took around and said, there's a generation of women who are older, who are 30 plus, who are single, who are beasts, who are rocking it. And I had a lot of men tell me, it's pathetic, how depressing. Okay, which today we are still minorities. We are still minorities in getting paid equal pay. We are still minorities in being CEOs, right? That sometimes I don't have an ego about it. I have a co-founder that is 6'6" and a man. And sometimes I know that even being in a room, just when I am saying what I want to be heard, sometime if there's another man and I can tell he can't relate to me, I want him, by him standing in the room, even if I'm the one saying it, he can all of a sudden relate to what's being said. So here I was being told I had dyslexia, and I was like, I don't think I have that, but I might have something else. And I realized neurodiversity was something that I think we all have. And we all have different approaches. And so when it came to, I had left being head of comedy at Fox. I was fascinated with Birth Order. I did Malcolm in the Middle. And I saw that we were all the same gender in my family. And so was with Malcolm, but like we were all different people. And so when I left Fox and I had been offered a job at DreamWorks, I was like, no, I think I have to go into education, because there's programs where they say they're looking out for every child, but really there still was that activity center that was one size fits all. And I was like, the slightest approach for a kid can mean so much. So I first, before Living Popups, I opened up a business called Creative Space, which had early intervention preschools. We had day camps, sleepaway camps. We did programming all the way up to leadership. So from pre-K to 18 years old. And I was invited to be a part of rewriting the blueprint to the California State Education Plan. And we started implementing from the robotics to bringing in different kinds of music programs, all kinds of things, technology, all kinds of things that were about process-based learning, that no matter, everybody has a good idea, let's try it, and let's work as a team, and let's do projects and see how we can accomplish things. So there was beginning, middle, and end sense of accomplishment. Every kid felt important in being a part of something. And I knew that there were approaches. And after doing Creative Space, where we were being written up for the kinds of educational programming we were doing, I mean, I didn't have a PR person. We were in the New York Times and in the LA Times and in Entrepreneur magazine, and in even made me laugh, in Style. But it was okay because some celebrities' kids who went to our program. It wasn't about that. It was that we were every adult and child. First of all, I still get like I had like letters from like people who are famous who I started their careers say thank you. But the kids who came to the programming that we did and how it taught them about the real meaning of perspective, the real meaning of critical thinking, the real meaning of community, and how everybody is a part of, even if they are neurodiverse, which is what a workforce environment is, right? After you go to school where they might put you in a separate class, you then have to go and you're part of a workforce. And half of those people don't know how to approach different people because they didn't know how to read the room for their people's uniqueness. So when we were coming up with how are we going to use technology in education, and we started first with literacy, because literacy is the first thing that kids withdraw and don't say anything. It's the first thing where no one knows how to ask for help, even as adults when they struggled with literacy. Prisoners in our prison systems don't even have third grade reading levels. So I was like, we should start with literacy. We should start with literacy, and we should look at like the required reading, because those are the have tos. So they have built-in anxiety around that first. How can we make them feel like the characters of a book have their back, are their wingmen? And because my co-founder has been an inventor of many famous technologies, he was one of the first to use augmented reality as a three-dimensional visualization tool on a film set. And I said to him, can you do that and make characters talk? And he said, I can do anything. I don't know if I can do everything, but I can do anything. And he did. And I said, okay, if we can start a conversation with a kid, they have to read the book, but the characters will ask you questions. And then if you get the question wrong, they give you context to why you might have answered that. We don't use the word wrong. We use the power of positive words to explain, okay, here's why you might have answered that. Now redirect you immediately to where to reread, not give you the answer, just give you the where. Now you don't have, so that's why I say we use EQ, we use critical thinking, we use the respect and dignity of a human, because who's hardest on yourself? You, right? So how we approach using AR, AI, and by the way, we call what we have a creative studio platform, okay? Because the truth is, right now AI is sexy. Right now, AR, people still had, like some people had tried to figure it out gimmick-wise. There was a coloring book or something, and it had no substance. I wanted kids to retain information. Okay, thank you. I wanted kids to retain that information. I wanted them to be confident when they knew about something and be able to pass information along. We live in a society right now that, and I'm talking a lot, you're not, okay. But we live in a society right now that somebody will Google an answer and not even retain what they Googled 30 seconds later.
Right.
If you're in medicine, you have to remember. If you're in cybersecurity or Department of Defense, you have to remember. Okay. So we looked at how can we approach using these tools and then creating a dashboard, which I call as the dashboard for dummies. So it doesn't look like, I mean, we did something for the Air Force, and I remember I'm terrible with like their titles. But the head of the Air Force guy was like, show me the data. And I was like, the woman who brought us in said, every 3 months I print out for you all the graphs, and it doesn't matter. You're not giving real-time information. Did this person get it right? Did they get it right with redirection? Did they get it wrong and need intervention? That's how we look at, that's what our dashboard says. Our dashboard says, okay, they were on at this time. This is how they were engaging, but it asks specifically, it gives you colored dots, like when a child did red light means a problem. Yellow light means they're like getting it a little, they're in the middle, and green light means they're flourishing. I mean, we really made it so that it's accessible to all, no matter what age.
I love this concept so much. And you obviously are known for your ability to tell stories, to really see people, and to bring books and characters to life, especially with this Living Popups augmented reality. Can we just back up a second, and can you just walk us through how that works in a classroom or with readers? Like what is the step-by-step experience?
Sure. So there's an app, just like you have audibles for listening to books. You can pick up, whether it's your training guide and you're on the line in a car facility, whether you're in a factory of parts for something, you are on that manual, and you've got the manual, whether it's online or a physical book, depending on, like, the head of University of Michigan's pediatric emergency medicine sent me his book. Okay, I can't even call it a book. It's like 35 pounds of heavyweight. Okay. And he said, I have students so you come on to LP Book Space or LP Read Space. One's an e-reader and one's actually using books. And it's in real, and that's why I said I can show you in real time. If you wanted show and tell, I can show you an example in a book. But you download the book that you're choosing, and as you're reading through a book, like right here, as you're reading through a book, and this one said, here's the QR code. It's got that it's on both things. It says that it's AR enabled, right? As you're reading through the book, and it gives you the instructions in the book. And it also tells you that as you read through the book and as there's illustrations, stop, take a pause, and you can put your phone over. Everybody has a phone or everybody has a tablet. It's the same camera. And in the read space, and when we do things in prisons, there is no camera. So it's done internally in the device, but it still looks like an AR experience. It's a unique technology that Jamie, my co-founder, has invented. So it's got the 3 dynamic appeal within the screen, but it's not actually in your room the same way in the real world it is.
Right, right. So it's an overlay over the book. Right. And is the reader interacting with the character?
Yes. The character asks you a question. They give you some options to what the answer might be. We then can log that answer. And then when we log that answer, as you've clicked on it, the character explains, like, if that was correct, that was great, you got it, and this is why that is correct. And if it isn't, we use the power of positive words to say, here's why you might have answered that. Why don't you go back and look at page 112 to find out? And then when you do, and you can get another shot at the answer. It's in 30 seconds, instead of you self-sabotaging, instead of you waiting until the end of the book. It's in real time, immediate repair to fix it and keep you on track.
I love it. I love it so much.
I could so much. I thought, sorry, go ahead.
No, it's really a really, really cool idea. My only experience with AR is really through Pokemon Go and Geocache.
Yeah,
My kids and I do these things together, and it's just such a fun thing that we can do together.
right.
But the idea that you could create this experience around reading is just really, really incredible. And I mean,
Math, science, history. I mean, Edie kind of own Shakespeare. Shakespeare in the book comes up and says, I had to create, you have the internet. I had to create my own sense of community. I built my own theater. And the theater, back in those days, we didn't have light. So we had to use sunlight. And then shows what the Globe Theater looked like. So we do that with, in history, we have something that we've done tourism things in Scotland. And we have characters from different time periods. They're asking you questions. They are keeping you so engaged. And I've watched kids become know-it-alls, which is like, A, they have confidence, right? And now they do have the information and they're empowered to share it, right? And the same way in workforce, financial advisors. I mean, so, and what's been awesome is, look, we're in about 130 school, like library systems around the US. And we're also in about 7 states now in different school systems. And as soon as whoever is exposed to it loves it, sees it's a game changer, because there's tablet stations or there's the tablet cart that comes, and then they can take their book home and they can use their parents' phone. And then their parents are seeing in a shared experience. We've had classrooms that have parents who don't know how to read that well tell us they're learning to read alongside of their kid. And we've had a white paper written that shows within a 6-month period of time, in one class, we've had a variable of students go from advancing 1 grade level to 3 in 6 months. So I know what we're doing is right. It's about getting the access. And also, look, we're in a very funky time, okay? When there's teachers who believe they will buy it themselves, when there are principals who believe, they buy it themselves, private schools, public schools, it doesn't matter. Special ed, it doesn't matter. We have had, I don't care where the access point comes in. I just say, we'll prove it to you. You will see the difference. Actions speak louder than words. I don't have to sell it,
100%. 100%. It's that efficacy piece that's so important. And that's what makes a great collaboration between, teachers and your product. So that's a really compelling um, idea. Cheryl, do you have a favorite project or character that's really, really stuck with you? Something that shows the power of narrative in learning?
Oh God. I mean, what I loved, well, the first book we did was Boxcar Children.
I was
And
just gonna say that. I love the Boxcar Children.
so many people do, and it's a beloved book. And here was the philosophy. It was written by a teacher. It's beloved by teachers, but it's also cool. It's still so relevant. Here's these orphan kids, and kids, they don't, when they're playing with their friends, they don't think of their parents. They're playing with their friends. And what do they like? They like building forts or being resourceful. So, like, coming up that making a boxcar your home is using the imagination. Now, here's a teacher who wrote this book series. Now, there's been other authors since because she's passed away. But her first 4 books, which is what we started with, she used the most commonly used 200 English language words, which a lot of people don't know.
I didn't know that.
Right. So well, I do my homework. And this, I want to set kids up for success, right? So I want to set people up for success. It makes us all better humans, and then, like, we can all look out for one another. These are things I'm passionate about as a human, as someone who's looking at our society, and like how we have so many people who are disenfranchised that don't know how to ask for help, don't know how to say I made a mistake, don't know how to have accountability and then redirect themselves to know you don't have to be stuck. Like, there's so many levels to this that I think for us, with what we're doing in mental health, we've done a project and it shows people how we can access and give them help in whether you're like needing real-time decisions in making an incision in medical school or in the emergency room, or whether you're needing to make real-time decisions in the Air Force, right? And there's so many, and the Air Force has a huge suicide rate. Like so how can we help? How can we help people who, I don't know if it's because of technology that people don't feel that they can communalize in the same way. When we did research around the Air Force, I had so many research groups on a base There were men across a table who didn't even know that they lived across the same street from one another, and they had similar hobbies. So, how can we help people communicate? We're using these technologies to be your wingmen where people need wingmen right now. And so it is even in professional, abilities that like we have different choices, people that it's an AI conversation. You're having conversations with your wingman who can really help you, and we've also used EQ so that they have personalities themselves. So people feel like they have a friend who can help them out and navigate something that they may not know how to do.
I'm wanting to shift us to the Coldplay example that your team did recently. It was such a unique fusion of music and activism and AR storytelling. How did that partnership come about, and what do you think that it shows us about the power of immersive media to inspire social change?
So it has similar philosophies. Okay. Um, Chris Martin made an announcement that he was going to reduce his carbon footprint. And having worked with many celebrities, and when you say something, you better stick to it. And that the press will like be all over you if you don't, right? So, but he is an amazing guy, and so is the whole band. Okay. And my friend is in the C-suite at SAP, and and they were sponsoring their 3-year tour. And he came to me and he said, "Cheryl, you know how to do like a commercial. We know how to make back end stuff, but we really don't know how to talk to an audience. And will you help us design what this app is?" And there's many things I wanted to do more, but there's only so much of a budget. But the idea was, okay, um, how do we get people if they're going to a concert? How do you pose question? Make it not preachy. Everything had to be gamified or fun, right? So like, okay, how do you play beat the clock? Like using your shower, right? Everybody says, "Oh, I take a short shower." I at least admit it's like the only place like I give myself 10 minutes. If you're a parent, right? You're like, I'm in the shower. uh, but I was like, okay, play beat the clock to a song. Like, and see, right? And see how long are you really in the shower? And then maybe a shorter one and a shorter one to just see how you can trim. Or you're going to a concert. Let's suggest fun ways that people can go to the concert. Carpool. Okay, you're going to carpool. Hey, take out the crap in the back of your trunk. And if you have 4 people in the car, make sure the tires are full. It will help with energy. Make sure that if it's a couple of hours away, you shift the weight in the car. And then we did 3 mobile games for them, right? Which were based on one was everybody, and I have a phrase, I make up my own words. So like the same way I said, say what you mean what you say, and don't say mean. I have a word called nostalgia, and it takes what we grew up with that we love and puts a new twist on it. Okay. So that's the same thing with having to read, right? You like that word, you're writing it down.
I'm writing it down. I'm stealing that.
Okay. And so I grew up with Space Invaders. I loved Space Invaders growing up. And I was like, okay, let's take what the design of what one of the water bottles that they're selling at the concert, because they weren't selling plastic bottles, and you could buy a refillable water bottle or you could bring an empty refillable water bottle and then fill it up there. I was like, let's have it be that you're trying to catch as many water drops. And then there were also meteors that were falling down, and you didn't want to catch a meteor because that would make you crash. But when you caught so much water, you're going up to the next level. Well, then you'd find out, well, with that much water, do you know what you can do? Like, do you know what you save? Do you know what that is? And then you're up to the next level. So it was a fun way to like give people information. I call it candy covered medicine, like Advil. It's sold over the counter, but it helps your head. So we did that. did something, we did another game on there that was like another old school game with one of the characters that was on a bike, and they had these stationary bikes that were attached, and they also had kinetic tiles on the floor where people were dancing. So we were trying at the concert. So right. So they would pull up some people to use the stationary bikes to have them energize some of the lights. They would have the kinetic floor to dance, right? So the two other games used the bike and used that you were like Kinetic Run going to the concert and you had to jump and get onto some of the tiles and that kind of stuff. So it was just about how to cleverly tie in. We're going to walk the walk, talk the talk, make it fun, and kind of let you absorb the fact that we're really doing something here. All the energy in this concert is not like just burning energy. It's you reusing and refueling what we're doing here.
That's that's so incredible, and I love it feels like an art installation almost, and I love the audience participation and, the fact that the bands
Everyone wants to be included. Everybody wants to feel like they're a part of something. They really do. You know, whether we protest or march, they want to be impactful. So, how can you really serve up tools that give them baby steps that actually make a difference?
I love that. Okay, speaking of nostalgia,
Yeah.
your Living Pop-Up Scotland project blends history, culture, and immersive tech in a way that's really interesting. It feels almost like time travel. It's like having your own personal guide. So imagine you're walking around this interesting site, archaeological site in Scotland. You've got your phone and you have the Living Pop-Up Scotland app. Okay, that's great.
Okay.
So, can you talk about your creative process and how do you balance cultural authenticity with interactive design in a context like that?
So I've always found those audio tours boring as heck. And they spend a lot of money on them. And I've also seen whether it's the Bloomberg Foundation, which I'd love to do something for to show them how it should be done, you know, something that just pops up. Oh, something just came out of this piece of art. How about Da Vinci in front of the Mona Lisa? Okay, I will talk about Scotland, but Da Vinci comes down on a gyrocopter. Oh, did you know I was that right? You can put him in front of the Mona Lisa, and he comes down. He goes, first I was a scientist. People want to know who is the artist. What are they about? Where did it come from? The backstory is what makes us invested. Oh, he was a human being, just like me, right? Oh, he was curious about the astronomy and everything before he even was a painter. Oh, he had a hobby as a painter? Oh, I like to do crafting. I mean, it all of a sudden makes you connect the dots as a human being, right? So that's one piece. Then we also did something at the Colosseum in Rome. And we started with a gladiator who talks about like how he likes to play piano and how and he's like, look, this is what the Colosseum looked like before it eroded. These are the many layers of things that went on here. And then we had gladiators who came from all over the world. It was like how you think of the Olympics today, right? It was an international, but there was theater that was performed here. There were slaying of animals and auctions of animals, exotic animals that were here. Then there were gladiator matches, you know, and so how to give context and make it come to life that isn't boring, but treats you with dignity and respect and also is like how you want to be spoken to. That's ultimately the EQ part of it. So when we did, I'll just give you this example. So we did this thing. Cisco wanted to prove 5G in rural areas. And we said, ooh, they do testing all the way out there in Scotland, and we said, "Ooh, the Orkney Islands has like so much history. It's Neolithic, it's Paleolithic. People don't know about this stuff. Even like how the Germans and their sunken ships from World War II. Like, so you have many different historical touch points in one area." And we were like, okay, let's make characters from the different, you know, uh, time periods, from a druid to a Norse Viking maiden warrior to a guy who looks like Mel Gibson. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, and so because when you walk around Edinburgh, you're seeing people in plaid skirts and blowing a pipe, so they look like him anyway, right? So showing and you're showing this is what this village looked like, even though it's almost underground and what happened to it. And you're showing how puffins are like an animal that lives there, like, and why? And you're not, and they're talking to you. The characters are telling you and why. Now, what was also fun and challenging with solving problems is it's there's 2 million tourists that come either by ships or by plane during 6-week period of time, because that's how the nice weather is there. And they have a 2-lane highway. So how do you navigate people? You have to read the 5G. You have to, right? And you have to be able to suggest how you take the tour while another hop on, hop off bus or vans, with a guide is doing it. And so we made it look like a bus first. So either the characters can pop up in your world full size and talk to you at the site, or as you're going through and there's beautiful different sites on here, you can and you could take this home with you. You can have the character pop off and remind you and show and tell where you've been here. And so we did that, and literally this was right before the pandemic we did it. The day it dropped, it was on CNN and BBC. So we knew we were doing something right, and it was touching people in the right way. All is about making impact, making something meaningful. I have zero tolerance for gimmicks. So God bless that Taco Bell has made a taco head on Snapchat. You can make a filter. That's not the business we're in.
Yeah.
We're into making impact, meaningful impact, educationally impactful, critical thinkers. That's what we're into.
You're making me want to go to Scotland.
It's fun.
I'd love to see it. A couple more questions for you. Where do you see immersive tech, especially AR, heading in the next 5 to 10 years?
So that's why I said AI is right now what's hot and flavorful, but we didn't know about it. Like a lot of people didn't know about it 5 or 10 years ago. It wasn't the common language. AR has been around for a while. I think AR will become more impactful and more commercially used. I do think there's going to be other technologies that arise that we integrate into the recipe to enhance the experience. Right now, it is that you can have a full-on conversation and have a wingman or have a friend, no matter where you are, and say, okay, I'm in Chicago. Tell me some of the highlights. And even have sponsored, like, this is the best pizza place. And this is, right? Or you must take the bikes this way, this way, this way, so that you feel like you're having your own unique shared experience, right? And I do feel like there will be additional technologies that will be integrated and just keep enhancing it. And people will catch on far more. So we're still in the forefront. We still see today, even we've seen every other AR company that's out there, no one has hit it the way we have.
Mhm. Final question.
Yeah.
What's the best advice that you've received as an edtech entrepreneur or that you would give to other edtech entrepreneurs?
Um, well, I've been in business for over 36 years as, as an executive. So it's more that I would share with people, don't give up. Like when people tell you really don't give up, if you really believe in your heart and your gut, people will follow and they'll catch on, you know. Uh, Persistence is key, and it doesn't mean it's not exhausting. And it doesn't mean that there are some days that you're like, when I was a mom, a mom with kids growing up, I'd be like, "Mommy needs a timeout." Right? It's like it doesn't mean you don't need that moment of pause for yourself to say it's okay. Just take the moment. Give your I The other bit of advice I would say to somebody who's doing a startup is what I feel like makes me good at what I do is that I do every day because of Zoom and like technology. We're on our computers all the time and people don't stop to even take a half hour, kind of for lunch or whatever. They feel like they have to justify. Take it, take a walk in the middle of the day. It used to be lunch hour, right? And that pause is so profound to your health and well-being, also to coming up with something that might have a solution that you were stuck in. And my last, okay, because I have all these funny little things, but I do also tell people, because I've been asked to speak on, like be a keynote speaker at different events and stuff like that. I say life's like kind of like Pac-Man. It's a maze. But remember, you're in control of the toggle switch. And when you feel stuck, you actually can back up
Mm,
a different direction. So,
that's great advice. Great advice. Cheryl, it's been incredible to hear how your career has evolved from producing hit shows to producing transformative learning experience. You're showing us what's possible when storytelling meets purpose-driven tech. Thank you so much for being here today. If
thank
our listeners, if our listeners want to connect with you, how would they do it? Where can they find you?
Cheryl, Cheryl at livingpopups.com, I think is really the best. And I'm pretty responsive. Like, that comes from my show business. Like, you never know where a gem is going to come from. So I listen.
And listeners, if you want to check out Living Popups, it's livingpopups.com. Thank you again, Cheryl. We hope that today's conversation sparked some new insight or some ideas that you can pursue. If it did, please share the podcast episode with a colleague and join us here next time on Chalk and Code.
Thanks for tuning in. If today's conversation sparked new insights or challenged your thinking, we'd love to hear from you.
Visit flexion.us for more information and join us here next time on Chalk and Code.